Ho, ho, ho. I'm Gary the Goo Boy. Let me just boot up a few more things here. Hold on. VOD watchers in shambles waiting for me to start the stream. Listen, all right? Sometimes you just gotta worry about these things, you know? Copy, paste, enter, go. Why am I pink? Ugh, whatever. You guys gotta deal with pink for a second. Why am I pink? Did we end this on a color redeem? I wonder. Hold on, we're almost there, boys and girls. Let me just, 2 more things here. Okay, that works. And now we need music. Let's do Sessions Star Guardian today. Boom. There we go. All right. And then boom. And then boot up that and mute it. Boom. Music's not too loud on your guys' end. All right, all right. Okay. Okay, sweet. I think we're good. Hi, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to the stream. Hold on. We're almost there. Actually, we are there. Oh, hello. Well, why am I pink? I talked about this when we started, but I shouldn't be pink right now. Hold on, I can fix that. Bam! I'm thoroughly turned on right now. No, we're not turned on. We're turned on for stream. Oh, all right. Let's get back on topic here. So we have Visual Studio. Okay, let's boot up the project. Elements of the game remake. Okay, yesterday we made a texture module, whatever. We haven't actually tested it, but we do have our asserts and an import assert, which looks ugly as sin, but whatever, we'll ignore that for a second. Also, this should be above that. Doesn't actually matter, but it looks prettier when all the C-based libraries are up top. Juicy as pineapple, how have you been? And then we have our main. We haven't actually made a game loop yet, but it's gonna be a while before we get there. We do have our initialization function. That's done as well. So we did a lot yesterday. Now today, I think what we're gonna do, 3 streams streak. Oh, thank you. Cute. 3 streams, damn. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do today. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna start on the card module, which if you guys haven't seen it, we do have a design doc in the Discord talking about everything. So in the plan, the big plan, the point of this is that we are going to be making basically elements of the game, but better with more goodies. We have an Excelsior or whatever you call it file already done and editable, but this is just an image. So we have our card module, all that beautiful stuff. So we're gonna work on the card module today, which is this guy. This is what we're gonna do today. Overlord Vim, hello, welcome to the interface stream. Hi. So, what's the you should learn Vim now? Nah, I still got a lot to learn on C++, okay? So this is what we're gonna do for the card module today. This is what I'm imagining in my head, okay? So we have a card virtual class. It's gonna be the interface, right? Is it an interface? A template? Whatever you wanna call it. It's not a template, but like, it's a class with virtual functions, right? It's gonna have like, probably, I don't know if there's such a thing as like, we'll figure it out as we go, but like virtual construct, no, I'm sorry. You cannot construct a virtual constructor, right? If it's like a virtual class, you can't actually construct that. So we gotta figure that out. But then if that goes well, we're gonna make 3 more classes that are derivatives of cards, relics, spells, and creatures, each of which have their own effects and everything. Now we're not gonna get into like any abilities yet, because we need to define a lot of the rest of the game before we worry about abilities. Instant duration, same thing. We don't even have turns yet. Shields and weapons, we can probably make those if we have time. So these are just an offshoot of relics, where you can only have 1 shield or 1 weapon in the game play at all times. And if we really have a lot of time today, there is 1 card that's going to be difficult to implement, and that is Flying Weapon, which turns your current weapon into a creature on the field with its own unique attributes and everything. I'm thinking in my head how that would work is, because that's like a test of all 3 cards, right? It's a spell that animates your current relic weapon and turns it into a creature. It's like we have to have everything like done in order for this to work. So that's like the ultimate, like, did we do everything right test. Gary, will there be coding? Yeah. We're just giving an idea of what we're going to be doing today, which is making this whole card module. So with that being said, let's make a module. So we want add module. This is going to be IXX interface, and we're going to call it card. Cards? I don't know. We have textures. I guess it's called cards. Okay. So we need to specify to the system this is a module interface. Then we export the module name. We are going to need, what do we need to import? Game initialize. I almost wonder if initialize. Well, we'll ignore what we need to import for just a bit. We do need to import STD though. So what are we doing here? We're going to export. No, we don't need. I don't know. This is the first time I've done this. So is it virtual auto card class is capitalized? Fuck, it's not an auto, it's a class. Virtual class card, no parameters, squigglies. Is that the syntax for this? Maybe it is just class card, huh? All right, we should look up the syntax. I've never done interfaces before, but that's what we're gonna learn. I feel like it's the best way to do it. C++ interface syntax. Class, virtual. Oh, that's it. Well, fuck. Okay, we don't even need parentheses then. My bad. It's not a function. You don't have to make the whole class virtual. I recommend not, actually. Why even use virtual? Well, the reason why we're going to be using, well, hold on. This is, we do public first. That's just the way I like to do things. Public, private. I don't know. Do you guys prefer private first or public first? I know this is a class, but still. So the idea here is we're going to do virtual ... or whatever, foo. And then we're going to call that function. Now, the idea here, or virtual int foo. The idea here is that when this function exists, we don't actually define what the function does. Struct first. Yeah, so public. Gotcha. So the idea here with a virtual function is we're not actually defining what foo does. We make this with the understanding that every card after it, so we'll go class creature colon card, or whatever we do for it. And then, is it a class? Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know the exact syntax here, but oh, this would be public though. But what we would do is now when we do this, we have to define what foo actually is. But every version of foo can be different. Now, the reason why that's cool is because what if this is draw? Now we define what draw means for a creature card and a spell card and a relic card. So whenever we go through the game and we call all cards do the draw, then, you know, every card knows what that means. And we have to define it in every creature, relic, spell kind of class we derive off of card. That's the idea here. I don't know if this is actually the correct way to go, but I think we're gonna do it. Also, yes, I did press the render button. Sleepy Mushroom, hello again in the Twitch chat. Struct first. Do we need structs? So private. Okay. Well, before we do that, before we do any virtual stuff, what are we doing with private information. What do I want every card to have? Well, it's going to have a struct. I'm assuming this is not public. It's going to have a struct, and it's going to be called render point, which is the top. What I'm thinking is we need a couple of things for a card, right? Let me look at my, hold on. I wasn't planning to do this early, but let me look at my picture again. Open in browser. Beautiful. Okay, so the idea here on this screen is, what does a card actually need? Really? You're not gonna do this for me? You're not gonna rotate over there? Oh, that's so annoying. Here, let me just okay. So as you can see in our diagram on the top right here, the idea is that we're gonna have a card on the screen. And what does this card actually care about that every card is gonna have? It's gonna have an XY value for the top left corner to know where it's gonna be rendered. It's gonna have some width and height to know how big the rectangle is actually going to be. It's also gonna need to contain some sort of ability capability, you know? Some sort of ability to display text. Maybe this isn't even part of it. Although it would be part of it, right? Because the information screen we don't have to program, obviously, but this ability and all that does need to be contained within a creature card at least, or like the ability to display text at the minimum. In fact, that's probably what it's going to be, right? Creature cards, maybe permanents would contain abilities, but spells wouldn't, but text would be available on all three. So I guess we do need to have some sort of, did I say test there and not text? Wow, what a meme. So the idea here is we're going to make a card. XY value is the first thing we need. Or maybe we do like an SDL rect. So this is like, you need a way to uniquely identify each card, probably either a member function or a variable called ID. True. So this is going to be struct ID. That's fine, right? I can call struct that. I don't see any shame in that. And then this would just contain some int ID number. I can't do dot, can I? Ugh, so ugly. ID number. I shouldn't underscore that, should I? I don't want to call it that either. Fine, number. The whole ID struct and then make it an enumerator? This is fine, right? I think it's fine to just make it its own struct. So now we have ID. Yeah? I think this is the way to go. Private values. ID. ID number is that it? Is this struct not getting read here? Oh, that's why. There we go. So maybe this should just be called ID. And then we have an ID number associated with every card. Okay, that's cool. I like it. I like it. I don't know why we would make it an enumerator yet. Oh, you're kind of right, though. Because this card module is going to contain relics. It's going to contain creatures. It's going to contain permanents. And it's all going to be under this virtual class card. Okay. So I guess we need to virtual card and then virtual. Is this the correct way to do this syntax? Virtual void card, void discard card. I actually don't know the correct syntax here, to be totally honest with you. All right, syntax time. What's going on? Wow, that's blinding. Abstract class, base shape, public per pure virtual functions is equal to 0, semicolon. Right. Okay, so this works, but this doesn't. So I thought I had to have a delete thing. Void, set width, width, set height, height. Protected as int, width, int, height. So I guess we should be doing interesting. I guess the way it works is you don't need virtual for everything then, huh? So you could do something like void set ID number, set ID, right? And that's it. But maybe this takes an int ID number. No, I hate that. Never mind. Hint new number, ID number is equal to new number. And that's it. The whole ID struct and make it an enumerator. I mean, I could. Does this not how that works? This is an int. Argument 1 does not match parameter. Why not? Argument 1 does not match because argument 1 does not match parameter. ID is equal to int. Oh, is it .id? Oh, gotcha. This is a struct, not just a regular integer, right? I need to define this is the ID. So maybe I should just call this number or something better. Maybe this should be called number. And this should just be ID. ID number. ID number. And this is just called ID dot number. There we go. That looks cleaner. Okay. Proper syntax, Gary. Come on, get it together. So I guess my question is, if we have a class that takes in a void set ID function, then if I have another class later that's like creature colon card curly brace, and then can I just use this function at all times? Is that how that works? Class rectangle public shape. Class rectangle public shape. Public card? Ooh, C++ nerds need to tell me why that needs to be there. Why do I have to specify public? Is that just all I'm accessing? Public, get area, return width height. Triangle, public shape, get area, return width height divided by 2. Rect dot set width, rect dot set height. Okay, so it does. Okay. So now, if I wanted to do something like virtual get ID, I can just leave that blank. And now this can be public get ID. Int. So when I make a creature card, I can call that function. Is that how I do that? So get area is equal to 0, right? So now that's valid. It will be, hopefully, soon. There we go. Okay. So now we have a virtual int get ID is equal to 0. So now when we do get ID from the creature, it will see out, not counting semaphores, see out ID number. Invalid ID is inaccessible. Wait. Get area, return width times height. Oh. Return ID. Oh, I need a set ID, don't I? So now we void set ID int. No, the number would be set already, wouldn't it? Yeah, the ID is up here. Then we just have a function returning it. So this is not ID, or this is not card.id, is it? It would be assumed, so I think it's just ID. Why do you need virtual there? Well, we need virtual here because we're implying that this function needs to be defined by any member classes, right? What's up? Because I've never done interfaces before, so bear with me here. So the idea here is that we have a struct called ID number that only contains an int. Then we have a virtual class or whatever that has a private value of an ID number, a virtual integer function equal to 0, meaning that anything that requires getting the ID number in any context is going to be defined in either creature, relic, whatever. And then we have a void set ID int new number, where this ID number is equal to whatever integer you give it. So the idea here is that this function is available in every card, no matter what. So in the main loop, I can just be like set ID 4 or something. Then if I want to see what that ID is for this specific creature, I need to define the function down here as get ID, return ID, but that doesn't work. It's inaccessible. So I think I need a function to grab the ID, right? But when I look at the example, oh, wait, is he not, width and height are protected, not private. Oh, that's weird. So this is protected. Now it sees ID. Excuse me. ID dot number. There we go. Ah, ha 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 ha. Don't use virtual. I will show you how to use static polymorphism with concepts and standard variant. What? Don't I, if I'm doing virtual classes though, like I want like a card that contains, like basically the whole point of this is like at the beginning of the game, when your deck gets shuffled, it's shuffled with a set of X amount of cards. I don't care what those cards are, whether they be a creature or a relic or whatever, but they are cards. And so this would contain information on like, you know, what it contributes to the number of cards in your deck. It has an XY value of where to render on the screen, probably contains some sort of width and height value, can read text if you highlight it. Forget about it. Cyber King, hello. Long time no see. How you been? Well, long time no see, like it's been forever, but still. So, standard, variant, and concepts, huh? Static polymorphism? Well, I think that's all we needed for now. I just wanted to basically understand it. So we'll just do this. We'll do it in the same number we did before, which is relic, spell, and then creature. I don't know why it makes me specify public here, but I guess that's maybe just part of the syntax. We'll do it like, oh, it's fine. It's readable to me. So, what is a card gonna need? Well, ID number. I kind of just want a struct for all the numbers, but I can't really do that, huh? We're gonna need a struct for location, float X, float Y. We're gonna need a struct for card size, which is gonna be a float width and a float height. What else are we gonna need? ID number, X value, Y value, width value, height value. Luckily, I'm not rotating rectangles. Thank fucking Christ. I'm busting out the PS3 before a couple of games are releasing this month, and I have a con to attend on St. Patrick's Day. What kind of con? Is it a New York con? Then we have a struct for is there anything else I care about here? Number, XY value, width, height value. Do I want the render information for cards here? Do I want some abilities to, these are structures. These are classes. Card interface. And this is gonna be card classes. I'm wondering if we contain the render information for cards individually. I guess we do, right? Because we're gonna be rendering different cards on the screen with different points. So we are gonna need like some float values. No, just a local one, but a few big names in media and anime are attending, and it's gonna be fun. Oh, cute! I have no idea. I've never, well, no, I've been to a few conventions. That's not true. I will say one of the bigger conventions I've been to was ExileCon in New Zealand. That was a nice. So we have card size, XY value. I'm trying to think of anything like super obvious. I guess they wouldn't be structs. Anything else would just be in there. I guess that's fine for now. So we have protected values. We're gonna be location. I don't know what to call this. Screen. Oh. Top left corner. I don't know. What's a better location? Can I just use that twice? Okay, kind of based. I don't know if that's wise. Corner. Location. I don't know what's a better name for it. Lowercase location. If you want to do virtual to learn general polymorphism, that's fine, but keep in mind using virtual for the wrong purposes is one of the reasons some people trash on C++. I predict some asshole will come and talk about how Switch is better and mention Casey. What? Is that like what you tell 5-year-olds to explain how a Switch case works? Okay, so we have a location value, we have a card size, width and height, X and Y. Actually, I feel like these names should be different. Hold on. Corner value, width and height. So now this is corner value, location, width and height, card size. There we go. And now we have functions probably to get all of these or to change them. So something like void set location, float x, new x, float new y. So location dot x is equal to new x. Location dot y is equal to new y. Something like that. And then void set size of card. Float new width. Float new height. Card size dot width is equal to new width. Card size dot height is equal to new height. Probably should make this simple. That'll be fine. It's fine. X and Y is pretty obvious. Width and height less so. This is how I generally do IDs in my code. What's up can tell me if it's bad though. Oh, they're gonna argue along the line. Switch is better. It's optimized to a jump table, much faster than loading 2 addresses, than Castmish. Okay, well, how about this? If we ever made a 3D game, it would matter more. But in a 2D card game that's intended to be played offline against AI, I think we'll be fine. I think we're okay. So what would you do? You would do a class card with public enumerated class ID, ID, card ID, ID, bracket. Giant list of all cards somewhere out of the way. Name 1, name 2. Card monster with ID, name 1, making a certain card. Using enum card ID, card other monster, name 2. This seems... I don't know how much I like that. Do I really want a giant enumerator with every card name in the game? Is that how I want to do this? I don't think that's necessary, is it? Although I guess for ease of use it would be, but... Is that really the best way to do things? It's just to have, like, if we have, like, ambitiously 240 cards, right? 20 cards per element. Is that mean we needed a enumerated class somewhere with 240 lines of just values? You should always be performance aware. Well, there's performance aware and then being exceptional, you know? Yeah, that's called data. Ugh, gross. Oh my God. Imagine doing data entry for a living. Sorry, I did that. Sorry, I did data entry for a very long time as a pharmacy technician. I feel you, dog. So I probably need all of these to be get, right? So virtual, I guess we can return a corner value. Do I really need a getter? Do I need a getter ever? Because if I set this, is this ever gonna change? Do I ever need to call this information? If it's protected, because all of my experience with C++ classes and shit has been public or private, and I almost always just put everything in public, so I never needed to get a getter function. So I guess I don't know how common it is that you actually want to get these values. Do I need a function to get the value of something if I just want to like reference it for rendering? Like when I render whatever the card this is onto the screen, I'm gonna need its X and Y value and its width and height value. Do I need a getter to actually access that information? Code Toil, hello. I guess this is where my inexperience with like interfaces come in. I just don't know if I need a function to actually grab the X and Y value of where it is on the screen. So in other words, if I have a function that animates the card from the top of the deck to the hand, does that mean I need to grab via a getter function these two values and then use them by reference, or I guess use them in general, to render a copy onto the screen and then change those values via a set function and then call them again next frame? Does that make sense? Isn't that like super taxing on the system? Put it outside. Name a Noom class card ID. I did read that as carded. When you're nested class enum, you kind of have to full declaration in the outer class to use the inner class. That's a bit limited for this IMO. Yes, you would need the getter. Protected variables act like private variables, except when you are within a class or subclass. Oh. Well, okay, well, hold on. Now I'm confused. So if I am a subclass like this relic, right, which is of public card, and I want to return ID number, do I not need this function? In my int main, can I just call like, you know, can I make like relic test, and do whatever parameters to make that? Can I not then be like test.id.number or something like that, right? Is that not something I could just do? Do I really need a getter function? If it's, oh, but I guess if it's in my int main, it's already outside of the context. So that's why we need to make this function. Okay, that makes a little more sense. Guess we can zoom out a little now. Okay, so what else is a card gonna need? Probably all of the render information. That's something we're gonna need. In which case we need... Oh, wait, maybe this is easier than I thought. No reason to have getters and setters that don't do anything else but literally get set. You can do that with variables. So now, import SDL.header. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna refactor already. We're gonna make... Do I even need a struct? Never mind, I don't need a struct at all here. So these two don't need to exist, and neither does this. Because what we can do is void, well, just make an SDL f rect, card size, card location, and then void set card location with an SDL f rect value, address of, and it's going to be, or reference to, and it's going to be called new rect. So SDL f, oh, not that. Card location is equal to .x is equal to new rect.x. I actually don't know if this is how you can, if I'm making them the exact same value. Actually, I don't know if this is the best thing to do here. But you guys get what I'm saying at, right? I don't need a bunch of constructors if the wheel is already solved, you know? Don't need to reinvent the wheel. Something like that. Card location equals new rect. Oh, can I do that? Okay, kind of based. Sweet. And make the reference parameter const. Oh, true. Okay, that's that good shit, chat. Thank you. I'm trying to remember to use const more often. In fact, should I make these const? No, this is gonna change. ID number won't change, except here. This is not a constructor. You can't construct a virtual class. You can't do that. So this does need to be changeable because as a default, it doesn't have anything, I think. Mr. Dick, hello. Since when does import exist in C++? Hazard, sorry, I'm trying to pay attention to chat. You guys are going fast today. Yeah, this module stuff, all of this importing the C-based library, that's a C++ 23, well, C++ 20 feature, but realistically 23 has import standard library. So no longer, chat, are you gonna be typing in hashtag include chrono, hashtag include IO stream, hashtag include c.math or math dot header, hashtag include, like none of this shit. Okay, that's boring. Import standard library, all fucking taken care of. Feels good, chat. I'm still using includes because I'm modding Half-Life 1. Oh, there you go. I don't know how difficult that is. That could be the single most impressive programming achievement in the world, and I would not know. Are there cards that transform into other cards? Yes. So I talked about this at the very beginning of the stream, but the thing we have to worry about is like the ultimate like fuck you test to like everything we're going to be doing is animate weapon. So animate weapon is a flying card where it's a spell that's instant that gets casted on a weapon, which is a relic, and it turns it into a creature. So it's like the ultimate, like if we can do that successfully, animate a weapon, we're good. Okay, we have the module done, all right? Because this animate weapon is gonna have an ability like immortal or something. If it's morning glory, like, hold on. Elements, the game wiki. Somebody must have one. Not that. That's based. Okay, air. Okay, where's my flying weapon? There it is. Okay. Animate weapon. So this is the card that's going to be the ultimate test. Flying weapon, 1 air. Turn your weapon into a creature. Oh boy. Where's an example? I'm looking, there we go. Morning Star. So Morning Star is like great example. Like if I can play animate weapon on this, we're good. All right, it's like the ultimate like car module test, because look at this. Morning Star, 5 light mana, weapon, deal 7 damage at the end of every turn, which is a lot, cannot be destroyed or stolen. So the idea here is we're gonna have animate weapon, which turns this, I just happen to know this, turns this weapon into a 7/7 creature with immortal. That's what it does, and it removes the weapon from the weapon slot. So if I can successfully replicate that, our cards are perfect and we have figured it out, okay? Non-static data member shouldn't be const pointer to const is fine. Oh. It shouldn't be because it will make the object not movable. So you want to be able to change ID, I think, right? Yes. We must have to. If you, well, not necessarily, Sassy Fajita, because we could get clever with it and just make a separate Morningstar creature and a Morningstar relic weapon, and make it so that when animate weapon is played, it's almost like a ritual card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where you have a sacrifice, Morningstar the weapon, so it deletes the weapon, it gets destroyed effectively, and it summons a creature. Now, this is a great test for what we're doing because this has the ability cannot be destroyed or stolen, which means we have to destroy the weapon. So that's just something we have to keep in mind. So destroy the weapon, summon a creature entirely different called Morningstar. Yeah, that might be better. That way you might have prior information of how it was summoned. But if you have an immovable class, which is rare, then that's fine, I guess. Shouldn't be, because it will make the object not movable. Non-static data member shouldn't be const. Pointer to const is fine. Okay. I prefer C++ development on Linux because I make files. Oh, if you guys want to see the darkness weapon, fuck this stiletto. Holy shit, what a great fucking early game weapon. 1 darkness mana, so you see this shit on turn 1, deal 4 damage at the end of every turn, and the damage dealt to you is returned as healing. Oh, motherfucker, I hated animate weapon decks that use stiletto. Fuck this goddamn card, dude. Fucking 4 to 6 damage every turn. They just heal the whole fucking time. It's 1 darkness mana and 1 air mana, so that shit gets turned out on turn 1. God, that was frustrating to play against. Oh, this is the Titan version of the weapon. This is the gravity version, Titan. Weapon, deal 7 damage at the end of every turn, 5 gravity mana, so it's cheap, and momentum. Shield effects are ignored. Yeah, this was popular too. Well, not the most popular. I feel like... This is just talking about combos. I feel like... Where is... Hold on. What was the most popular weapon to animate? Morning Glory. Earth. Gravity. No. Life was popular. Fire was useless. Death was... Oh, Arsenic. Oh, that's right. Oh my god, how did I forget about Arsenic? Where is it? Give me that Arsenic, baby. There's Plague, Bone Wall, Aflatoxin. Fuck Mummy. Mummy turns into a Pharaoh if targeted with reverse time. It's such an obscure combo and nobody fucking used it. There it is, Arsenic. Aha! Okay, I'm gonna be honest. Arsenic is frickin' sick. I love this weapon. Super cheap, 2 death mana. It's a relic, well, permanent, but we're gonna call them relics. Relic weapon, deal 2 damage and 1 poison damage at the end of every turn. Poison damage is cumulative. Oh, baby. Fucking poison decks. Purify water overpowered motherfuckers. Besides them, it was a great deck. Time, the reverse time you guys just read about was this card here. Reverse time, the target creature becomes the first card of the creature owner's deck. Now, this is just like a bounce back effect where it goes into the top card of their deck. But if you have Mummy, reverse time turns it into a Pharaoh, so you can cheat out like a Pharaoh, which is not Ghost of the Past, but that card is fucking good. Pharaoh, 9-time mana, pretty fucking expensive. And then for 2-time mana, you summon a Scarab. You generate a Scarab. Okay, well, what's a Scarab? A Scarab, which is an older card, but very good, 2-time mana with 2 N. To give you an idea of what kind of creature cards we're going to be making, hopefully today. So we're going to have 2 N value, where N is equal to the number of Scarabs you control at the end of the turn. With 1 gravity, Devour. Devour being once per turn, you can eat a creature that has lower health than you. So the idea here is if you're a time deck that can splash in just a little bit of gravity, you summon a bunch of really expensive pharaohs. Every turn, they each generate a Scarab, and after like 4 to 6 Scarabs, you can pretty much eat anything in the game. After 10 Scarabs, you can eat everything in the game. Maybe 12 is the max. But yeah, it's you can just eat everything and just control the whole board. Also, Precognition, 2-time mana. You can see your opponent's hand, draw a card. Now, chat, I'm not gonna say card balance is easy, but I am gonna say, how did the developers of Elements the Game not realize how broken Precognition was? In every single card game in the history of mankind, if you make a 2-mana draw a card with nothing else, it would be used in every single deck. 1 mana for sure. 2 mana if you're dedicated. A lot of decks would do it. But then, is this pre-recorded? No balls. This is live, baby. And then you can throw on, you can see your opponent's hand. Precognition was so good. Time in general was just a really good Anubis was cheesy, but it worked. Anubis, 8 time mana, so it's pretty expensive. 5/8, so the stats are mid. 2 Aether mana. Immortality. The target creature is now untargetable and immortal. Oh my god. There was one way to counter immortality, and that was shields. For instance, time shield was procrastination, 6 time mana, little spendy. Shield, any creature that damages you is stuck in a time bubble for 1 turn. So the idea here is it's a great shield, but it's a delayed effect. So they play a creature, well, you have the shield out, they play a creature, every creature in the game has rush, so it hits you, and then you take full damage, and then it gets stunned for a turn, so it can't do anything. But it also cannot use abilities, so that matters a lot. Best shield in the game from the best defensive class in the game, water. Fuck motherfucking permafrost shield. Oh my god. I'm not even gonna show you guys the unupgraded version because nobody used that. Look at this fucking overpowered ass motherfucking RNG fiesta. Permafrost shield, 7 water mana, kind of expensive. Shield, damage dealt to you from physical damage sources is reduced by 2, really fucking good, and attacking creatures might freeze. Now, you may be asking, Gary, in an electronic card game, what does freeze do? How RNG can it be? Well, let me tell you, chat. What if I told you there was a 50-50 chance every turn that you could unfreeze from a freeze effect? So the idea here is you get frozen, you attempt to attack, you unfreeze, nothing happens because you win the 50-50. So no matter what, you lose an attack. So you attack, you freeze, you might freeze. It says might freeze. I think it's a 50-50 chance. So you freeze, and then you attack and you miss because you didn't unfreeze. It's like, okay, fuck. Then you attack and you don't unfreeze again. It's like, okay, fuck. And then you attack again. It can go on forever, and I hate this fucking shield. God damn it. All right, when we make this game, freeze effects are gonna be a guaranteed 1-turn deal, maybe 2 if we want to get spicy. Okay, Ice Dragon was horrible. Holy shit, 9/6 for 10 mana. What a joke. Mind Flayer was pretty popular. Man, now that I'm reading these, implementing abilities is gonna be harder than I thought, because how do you implement Mummy? Because Mummy is a card where if you play, we probably won't make it this specific if it even exists in this game, but the idea of Mummy is that you play the card, you then cast reverse time on it, it turns into a pharaoh, it summons a scarab, the scarabs can eat enemies. Like, this whole chain of operations, like, there's so much that can go wrong in terms of programming. Like Mind Flayer, 2 water mana, so it's pretty cheap, 2/2, 1 Aether mana, so this ability, by the way, is incredible, but that's because Aether and water don't really gel well together. So if 2 elements don't gel well together naturally, like Aether has fantastic spells but mid creatures, and water has fantastic defense but kind of poor creatures, so it's an awkward combo to have. Anyway, Mind Flayer, 1 Aether mana, Psionic Wave, silence. Just constant silence. It's a pretty fucking good card. Nymph's Tears, flooding. Oh god, I don't even want to worry about flooding. Oh god. Steam Machine, that's a meme. In fact, it won't even exist in our game because fire and water elements can't work together. You can't have 2 of the opposite elements in the same deck. Dry Spell. Arctic Squid! Oh, this fucking card. Freeze. Freeze the target creature for 2 mana. Fuck that card. Oh, yeah. This is what the whole point of us going into water. Sorry. So the water weapon, this is weird, but whatever. Trident, 3 water mana, deal 4 damage. So it's pretty cheap. Then for 3 earth mana, which is pretty expensive for a card effect, 3 mana, destroy up to 3 target pillars in the target cluster. It's Earthquake. The ability is fantastic, but again, earth and water don't really mesh well together. Great defensive permanent though. Earth, on the other hand, the other defensive one, there was one card here. Was it a Shrieker? Antlion, what a joke. Hematite Golem. Oh, that's right, Earth creatures. Earth creatures are great statted for the cost, so 4 mana, 4/6 is fantastic. 10 mana, 8/10. Sounds bad, but it's, as far as dragons are concerned, it's pretty good. Titanium Shield is just reduced damage by 2 or 3. Awful spells like Plate Armor. Ugh. 3 health for 1 mana you'd think would be a game changer. Not in Elements the game. This is a shitty card. Gnome Rider is your mana, so you play a 1 mana card, you get 1 mana back every turn. It's an extra... It's Druid. Earth is Druid. That's what I'm trying to say, okay? Graboid. Oh, right, Shriekers. Okay. This is a classic Elements the game deck. This is like baby's first combo deck. So you have Graboids. Earth and Time generally work pretty well together. Earth has great statted creatures, and it's like the game's version of Druid with like mana ramping. Time has great card control, so you can draw a lot and all that, but suffers from like awkward creatures that are really expensive. So Earth and Time generally go well together. Now Graboid is like the backbone of that. 3 mana, 2/3 with Time mana, Evolve. Turn the Graboid into a Shrieker. Graboid enters the game burrowed. That means when this enters the field, the opponent can't do jack shit about it. It's burrowed underground. Burrow means that it can't be targeted, but you lose half your attack. So it's a 1/3 on the field. It's like, okay, well, shitty, but at least it'll do something. Shrieker, 8 mana, 8/3, and it can burrow on demand. Oh, baby. You guys don't know how good this card is. You can play it raw for 8 mana, and you might have a case. Like, I know dedicated Graboid decks play Shriekers in their deck too for like mid-late game. It's great because while you cannot burrow the turn it comes out, you can burrow the next turn. And let me tell you, chat, guaranteed 4 damage every turn, and your opponent can't do jack shit about it. Pretty fucking good. So you just win with a bunch of burrowed Shriekers out. Enchant Artifact. So Enchant Artifact is basically make it so target permanent can't be destroyed. It's very good. Earthquake, what a meme, just destroy mana. This is, I don't know if anyone was here from our Elements the game days, but when we played it, I tried to replicate Earthquake and I just couldn't do it. Apparently, Magic players don't like their pillars getting destroyed. Oh, Stone Skin. Gain X HP to your max life points. X is the number of Earth Quanta you own. Chat, what if I told you that you could get like 200 HP if you have a dedicated Stone Skin deck? These motherfucking stall decks. God, I'm getting triggered again from all that. Iridium Warden. What a weird card. I don't like that card. Shard Golem. Pulverizer. Shadow Tucker. All right, chat, what are you distracting me for? All right, we're programming, all right? Jesus Christ. Okay, so we have our ID number. We have our interface for card, which is getting ID, setting ID. So what were we saying earlier about like changing ID? Why do people ask about that? No reason to have getters and setters that don't do anything else but literally get or set. You can do that with variables. I disagree. I feel like there's certain information that you don't want to be able to be easily changed because it breaks the game. Like, I don't want an ID number to be changeable outside of the specific context of setting ID, which is only when we construct whatever card we're making, right? If it's a relic, it's gonna have its own unique ID number. So I don't know how I feel just having that just be like a floating just variable to be able to be changed at any time, you know? Because if I accidentally change the ID into something, like what if we animate weapon the Morning Glory? The Morning Star. I call it, it's Morning Star, but everybody called it Morning Glory because it was used in a deck with a card called Glory and it was called Morning Glory. Okay, that was the deck. Okay, what a meme. So if you animate weapon the Morning Star and it turns into a creature card from a weapon relic, we're never changing the ID. We're just deleting the relic, not removing it, deleting it explicitly. And then we're creating a creature onto the field. But these are going to have different ID numbers. I don't know. Maybe not. We do need to get ID, don't we? Now that I see it. The reason why is, int, we're going to be get ID. We need to get ID because, in order to get the ID, because I'm thinking like in terms of deck construction, if we construct a deck of 30 cards and we have a max of 4 per deck, we need to know how many instances of a card exist in the deck. And the best way to do that is to count the number of IDs, right? So if an ID number 1140 appears 4 times, it's like, okay, well, you can't have any more of that, you know? But in order to do that, we have to get ID. So whenever you add a card to your deck, we're gonna make an array of that deck size. Check all the cards? Maybe that's not a clean way to do it. I'm trying to think about how to do this in my head. So we're gonna have a standard array of size whatever you give it. Or maybe it wouldn't be a standard array. Maybe it would be a vector. But in any case, you have a vector and it's gonna be of size, whatever your deck size is, containing the ID numbers of every card you put into it. Robot Lauren? I knew a Lauren in high school. She got married and she has 2 children now. Hi there. Hello, Robot Lauren. Haven't seen you here before. Do you like VTubers? Do you like programming? So in order for it to do that, we have to put the ID number of every individual card into the vector so that when we go into the game, it knows what cards it's going to be shuffling in that vector. So when you draw the next instance of that card, it draws that ID number. So we do need to get the ID. And I'm returning an int value, right? So, I don't need to get ID. I don't need to define it here. Or I don't need any parameters at least. And it's gonna be return ID.number. And that's all it's doing, right? Hi, here for the programming. This is so cool. Well, thank you. I hope you appreciate. I also hope you like C++23 because we are modulating the fuck out of this. Hell yeah. What's your experience with C++? Or do you not know it? Or do you just like video games? So we're returning the ID number because we're gonna need to use that a lot. Card location, we're gonna set it. We also need to have access to it. So same thing here. We're gonna be, we're gonna be returning an SDL floating rectangle called get card location. No parameters. Return card location. Same thing, getters, setters. Is there any other protected information we need here? I'm just wondering in my head, does the actual card interface want to contain rendering information? Like, is the card flippable? Is it whatever? I feel like it should not, because creatures, relics, and spells are all going to be rendered differently, right? Yes. Every card is going to have its own, or every derived class is going to have its own, you know, version of that, you know? It's going to have its own version of render the object because it's going to get rendered at different portions of the screen. I could see how that would branch off pretty easily there. So I wonder if we just keep this like as is, where we just have an ID number, some sort of XY value, width, height value. Oh, it needs a texture, doesn't it? We need to import textures. So now, do I import textures? Maybe instead we just call a parameter into the relic or spell or creature card where one of the constructors is a texture. That might be a better way to do it. I've taken C++ class and some other courses in Java, but I haven't done a lot with any of it. It's cool to see this applied in a fun way. Aw, thank you. That's awesome. I'm glad to see you enjoy. I hope you like SDL too, because boy, oh boy, do we use SDL. Also, I'm typing these wrong. Wait a second. Does this work? Auto get ID arrow int. Okay, that's base. We're doing that. Holy shit. Auto get card location arrow SDL f rect. That's nice. I like this. I like this syntax more. Okay, so before we forget, auto get ID int. There we go. I like the arrow syntax more. It just feels so much more, I don't know. It just feels like a lot more like, I like the syntax a lot more. Okay, card location, get card location. Is there anything else? All three kinds of cards are gonna want to be the same. Draw, it's gonna need to have some ability to draw, so let's make that another virtual function. So virtual void draw equals 0. What else is it gonna want to do? What will every card do? Die? Removal? Maybe just remove. So like it gets, you know, it gets taken off your side of the field, you know? Maybe like virtual void display text, something like that. What else will a card want to do? Get ID, it'll have some ability to draw. Wait, why do I have get ID is equal to 0? Uh-oh. Maybe this isn't what we do here. Holy shit. Didn't really think about that, but okay. Does this even render? Oh, it does. Based. Okay. Display text, remove, draw. What is something every card is gonna have to do? It's gonna be able to be drawn. Oh, some ability to be, oh, but spells won't. I was about to say, like, some ability to be clicked on for an ability, but that's something only permanents, sorry, relics and creatures do. Spells don't. Spells don't. Spells have a duration in the sense of like, wait, do spells have a duration? Because if a card is frozen, that's just a self-harming ability, right? It's like in Death Rattle Hearthstone, right? If a card is affected by frozen, it's just an ability to itself, like Death Rattle, but the text isn't displayed? I guess I could just make that a spell effect, but that's not really, I guess that would be a duration-based thing, huh? I could just make it a spell effect. But what if a creature casts an ability on another creature that freezes them? Does that mean it's casting a spell? I don't know how much I like that. If it, I guess it could not do that. We can just make it simple and say no. I was thinking like every turn you can click the cards to activate an ability, but not every card type is gonna want that, right? Shields will, Weapons will, because those are relics, because relics will. And creatures will, but spells? No. Spells are instant, so it's not gonna have the ability to click. So I guess spells is our most limited, like, what every card can do, right? So what will a spell do throughout the game? It's gonna get shuffled in the deck, but that's going under this shuffle module. It would be drawn, it would be put into the hand. It's gonna have a graphic on it. All cards will have graphics. So some sort of virtual void constructor. Maybe I could have like a struct that contains some sort of string, or maybe I could go like standard string path, image location, image info. Yeah, I guess I could have a string that tells the game where the game's art is. Art location. I guess just art is fine. Is that something I'm gonna want as a protected value? Yeah, I guess so, because this is never gonna need to change, right? So I could even... I don't think I can make this const, can I? Maybe not. But every card needs some ability to like do that. But that comes across like a texture, but I can just make that part of the constructor. I can't construct a virtual class, right? So if I wanted a texture, it wouldn't be here. Are you building a new game now? Just vibing with you. Yeah, we're making a card game based on Elements the game. One of my favorite card games ever. And it's a card game that's been abandoned by its creator, but I know there's been I'm on like a fan Discord for it. They're like trying to remake the game in Flash or whatever, HTML5. I just want to make a player versus AI version of it because that's the best way to play the game. It's like intended to be against AI. I guess we could make this simple and just have like an SDL texture pointer. Art. Chat, I have a weird question for you. In a virtual class interface, is it appropriate to have a pointer? Is that allowed? I mean, I'm sure it's allowed. Can I? Should I? Program runs. I just don't know if it's appropriate to have this be a pointer, but it does need to be a pointer, right? I think. Yeah, because this function is returning a pointer already. So this does need to be a pointer, I think. Yeah, you can construct a virtual class. They're not related. You can do whatever you want there. What? I can construct a virtual class? That doesn't make sense though. I thought the whole point of a virtual class was you could not construct it because then it becomes not a virtual class. Then it's just a class, right? Maybe a class could have virtual functions. I think that's true, but a virtual class is unconstructable. I thought by definition it had to be, because a virtual class just was the building blocks of like an actual class. You're gonna be exporting. I thought that's what the logic was behind it anyway. That's why I can make this not public, right? Or not exporting this class of card, but I can export the relic, spell, and creature. Okay, Goo Boy, I have to ask. I have no problem with SDL, but why not use SFML? Right now, as a learner of C++, my goal is to learn like the latest and greatest, you know? Why learn something that's out of standard like 15 years ago? I'm not working with like government software or like the software industry. I'm just making games, you know? There's no point for me not to use the latest and greatest for what the language has to offer, like Lamb does. Now to follow up on that, we're using SDL and not SFML because SDL has a new update coming called SDL 3, which overhauls audio, which is going to be so nice and hopefully with much better documentation. But SDL 3 is coming out. It's going to be exciting. And it feels more, I don't know, feature rich than SFML. The word is instantiate an object from an abstract class, but when you say construct, people are thinking of calling constructors. Abstract classes can have constructors. Oh. The word is instantiate an object from an abstract class. When you say construct, people are thinking of a constructor. Can't wait to see the batch rendering? What? Abstract classes can have constructors. I don't know how much I like that though. I think I just want this to be able to just give the functions every card type is gonna want, and then we define everything below. That feels more appropriate. What you should have said is abstract classes cannot be instantiated. Yeah, that. So now we have auto create texture. Do I want to create a texture here? And all we need for texture, yeah, I don't like this. I don't want to create the texture when we do this. I feel like the texture should be part of the constructor for the individual things. Maybe that's a better way to do it. In fact, by doing that, I could separate the vectors for the different kinds of art into 3 different vectors, where we have relic art, spell art, creature art, where we just point to those enumerations whenever we want specific examples. I don't know. Whenever we want specifics to that. Actually, that does kind of matter. No, that doesn't matter. I was about to say, because Fallen Elf exists, and that mutates a creature into a random creature. But as long as the ID is identified as a creature type. You know how many cards that is made up of the same rectangle? You know many cards that is made up. Oh, also, I should have a new type here. Hold on. Struct card type. Or is it a card type? Int type. So the idea here is that we're going to have some sort of enumerator that defines either 1, 2, or 3, or 0, 1, 2, like relic, spell, creature, you know? And then the protected value is that value. Something like that. Although I guess I could just make this int, but I don't like magic numbers. And then we have something like void set type. It's gonna take an integer new type, and it's not gonna return anything, right? Like that. And then this is gonna take type dot type is equal to new type. So the idea here is we could set creatures to permanence and all that stuff. That's the idea there. So if we ever wanted a goofy ass card like fucking turn card to whatever, we can do that. Turn card to a pillar. You know how many cards that is made up of the same rectangle? All of them? You can call the constructor of an abstract class and a constructor of the subclass. Yeah. Wait, I should say instancing a quad, then have each card inherit a trait, and then have a texture for that quad? What? Are you a SWE as a profession, or is it just a hobby for you? If you're saying software engineer, no. Oh God, no. I'm a drug dealer behind bars. I'm not actually kidding. I am literally that thing. I am a pharmacy technician that works at a medium security prison, and I give drugs to inmates. Well, we call them adults in custody, but most people just immediately then ask what that means, and then I say inmate. You can use type def int card type? Nope. Well, I mean, I can, but you know, we can do a lot of things in C++, but we don't. We don't use type def in C++. We use using. That's the term we use. We don't actually use type def. Like, how do you rendering for the cards? Well, the idea is we have to be really careful, because what does rendering mean? Are we saying that, like, when the card is in your hand, it's gonna have a kind of rendering? Is that rendering gonna be the same for every kind of card? What if there are differences? Like when you render something on the field, is it gonna look different for different cards? I don't know. We're probably gonna use SDL render copy F, or XF is probably what we're gonna do. So then this takes like 8 parameters, but for some reason IntelliSense doesn't show this anymore. I don't know why. So yeah, it takes all of these parameters. So like a texture, a rect, an F rect, an angle. Do I want all of this in? Do I want all of these parameters to be in our virtual interface? I don't think we do. We'll have an instance quad. That's not good enough. We need, like, there's so many things. So many things we have to cover. It's like a 7 parameter, 6 parameter. No, it is 7 parameter function. Like we even need a renderer. Like how do we? No, we're not doing that in our card module. I'm not going to import a renderer to the card module. Okay. Card shouldn't have anything to do with rendering. I guess you could also use using card type equals int, or we could just have an enumerator. We'll start with that. I mean, we can. I mean, do we test this? I mean, I can create it. I don't think we need to make it yet. I think it's pretty obvious what we're doing, right? So void, and then we get type. And it's going to return a int. Oh, no, it's not. It's going to return an auto. And then it's going to point to an int. And it's going to be returning type. There we go. Oh, type dot card type. Sweet. Why wouldn't a card know how to render itself? That's a pretty typical pattern in UI frameworks. Is it? Why would a card module care about things like rendering on the screen? Like there's so many parameters you have to put in for something to be rendered onto the screen. You need to have like the angle it's rotated on. You need to have like the destination rectangle. All of the math needs to apply to the card type. Like, I know we did it for the bullet hell shooter. Like we had rotating bullets and everything, and that did apply to the bullet module, but this is a very different beast, right? if we do have rendering information, it wouldn't go in the virtual class. At the very least, it would go under individual relics, spells, creatures, and all that, right? At the very least, that's where it would go. Because I think these are going to get rendered differently, or at least have different rules for rendering. Although, then again, we should have a virtual function for render. I think that's fine. Render card. I think that's fair. And then we can iterate. Phantom Cap is following. Somebody played Zelda growing up. Hello, hello. Oh no, that's Minish Cap. Never mind. Hi. I don't think I've seen you here before. Hello. Glad you enjoy the stream. Well, it depends on how you want to architect the game. If you want a purely object-oriented, this would have a render method. Oh, so it's fine. We'll do a render card method. So the idea here is, not even render card, just render. So the idea here is that we're gonna iterate through this. Okay, bear with me. Every card in the game is going to go into a vector. This vector, or at the very least, every card that's in the game in each deck, whatever, right? Every card is gonna be on a vector. This vector is gonna get iterated through whenever we need to render something on the screen. So rather than going through and being like, oh wait, are you on the field? Render. What we'll probably do is iterate through the whole vector of is visible, yes, Boolean value, and then render that if it's true. So every card gets the same treatment. Now I can do that as a virtual function, but not anything more specific, you know? If you want ECS, you should add a renderable component and a system that would handle rendering. Yeah, we can just have a virtual function, and then down here, when we actually make our relic, spell, creature, each of them will have a render function to actually like answer, you know? So we can draw a card, we can remove a card from the field, display a text, render. We need to pay a cost. Virtual void pay cost and virtual. No, that can stay. That's it, right? Then we pay a cost to play it. Maybe virtual duration change. And then down here we have a, you know, int duration or something. So void set duration, which is equal to an int x or int new duration. Duration is equal to new duration. And then we have a same thing, auto get duration with the parameter of nothing is going to return an int. No, it's not going to return anything. No, it will return an int value, right? And this is going to be return duration. Sweet. You could also have a private member variable should render. Maybe. The duration, by the way, is for stuff like, actually, this should be an unsigned int. Can I just do that? Unsigned int. And then this is gonna be unsigned int. Unsigned int. The idea here, oops, not unsinged int. The idea is that if we give a duration to a card, I don't want that duration to ever be negative, because I could see an issue where we're subtracting from, we basically have set duration -1 and if duration is whatever. That's the idea, right? So we would rather have a duration that goes from 0 to, you know, 4 billion than a duration that goes to -1, -2, -3, and just cause issues that way, you know? So I think I'd rather have those be unsigned integers. I think that's a more clean way to do it. So const unsigned int new duration. Yeah, sweet. I think I'm doing this fine so far. Lots of getters and setters. So maybe this isn't the correct way to do things. Is there like a template? Is this like screaming template right now? I think it is. The problem is how do you differentiate between a const int and a const unsigned int and a const rec? So like this template could take in these three. No. I think this is fine. It looks ugly, but I think it's fine. I am going to rearrange this a little though. So we will do this. We'll do methods to define setters, and then what, getters? Boom. So this goes here. Ugly. This goes. Hold on. Here. Get ID, get duration. Why can't I zoom down? Oh my goodness. There. And then there. So now we have getters. We have our setters. Beautiful. Now it looks cleaner. Okay. Sweet. Look how much cleaner that looks. Wow. So is there anything else any instance of a card in the game is going to be experiencing? It's going to get drawn. It's going to be removed. It's going to have a display text. It's going to be rendered. It's going to have a pay cost value of some kind. It's going to have a duration change. So if it has some sort of duration effect, the counter will go down 1 every turn. Or 2 or whatever it is, right? If it has an ability, it's going to have some sort of pay cost values with a display text. I think it would be better to store location and stuff like that as GLM vex and then only use SDL in render method. To store location and stuff like that in as a GLM vex. What do you mean by that? I never heard of that before. I don't think there's anything else a card needs to do, right? Well, let's think about something like Fractal. What does that do? Fractal, let me show you guys, because I'm trying to think of instances where it actually kind of matters what the card does. So if I show you what Fractal is. Fractal. Okay, this is Fractal. 10 Aether mana, so massive cost. Fill your hand, it's a win condition. Fill your hand with copies of the target creature's card. All the remaining Aether quanta is consumed. So the idea here is you pay 10 mana, you lose all of your mana, but you then have like 8 copies of whatever card you have, you know? Oh, by the way, it can be your opponent's creature. Just putting that out there. So how would you handle this? It would be a spell. You would then cast it on a creature, and then your card gets filled with that creature's ID, or that card ID number of type creature. You know, that's why we have a card type, so that way it can only target creatures of that type, you know? GLM, namespace, vector 2, x10, y10, for example. Oh, maybe. So you're saying, like, it's not a cache, but I get it. Add a copy of the first card in your opponent's deck to your hand. What a terrible card. Silence. Scion. Oh god, how do we handle a fucking Scion? Scion's attacks deal spell damage. Oh my god. Oh, wait. Is every card gonna have a damage type? I'm not gonna have an animate permanent. That's not gonna exist, except for animate weapon, but that is explicitly unique. That's why weapon relics are gonna be special. But like, are we gonna have a damage type? If we do have a damage type, should it be in the base card interface? I guess so. It won't hurt anything because spells would have spell damage. Creatures would mostly have physical damage, but there's also flying damage, which is exclusively a creature in some weapons. So relics can have it. I guess I do have damage type as it. Okay, cool. So we'll have damage type. So I guess I do need that to be a struct, don't I? So struct damage type will be based on an int, and this int will turn into a enumeration later. So int damage type. And then this is going to be damage type type of damage. And then we're gonna have to do a setter and a getter. So void set type of damage, taking in nothing. Oh no, yes, no, we do need int. Oh, is it gonna be an int? I really don't want that to be in a whole integer, but whatever. Int new damage type. Type of damage dot damage type is equal to new damage type. And that's it. And then we need to auto get damage type. Returning an int, I guess. Return type of damage. Okay. I don't know if that was the cleanest way to do it, but we did it. Sweet. Sweet. Okay. So now if I have like a creature and I need to like see what type of damage it does, it's creature name dot get damage type, and then that will return that damage type. Okay. Sweet. I think we need some enumerations here, don't we? Enumerations. Enumerations. Enums. There. Enums. All part of the plan. Public class. What is it? Damage type, and what else do we need? Type. Type of card. Class of card? I guess that's a better way to do it. Type of card. Might as well keep the same verbose language. So type of class. And this is gonna be private by default for sure. Well, I guess I can make it public. Public struct. Type of class. Yeah, I think that's good. And then this is gonna be I don't know. How did I do this before in the other program? It was, we have, well, I guess I don't need to a public thing, I guess I could just do like an enum. So like enumerated class. I guess I could just make this a public enumerated class. Is that like a clean way to do this? Maybe not. Either way, it's an enumerated class. Type of card. And it's going to be defined as physical. No, sorry. Relic equals 0. Spell equals 1. Creature equals 2. Hold on, design doc. Let's follow through. We made the fucking thing. Shields, weapons, instant duration, abilities. Does the type of card need to care about more than this? I don't think it does. I feel like maybe we don't. Maybe all shields and weapons are also relics. I guess that would make sense because you can steal relics, right? Your left eye keeps blinking because I look over here really far. Hold on, let me see if that actually works. I look over here really far, and whenever I look too far away from the camera, it starts thinking I'm having a seizure. So I'm rotating, I'm looking at the camera right now, and then I rotate my head over and over and there. So you can see where on the screen it starts like having issues, where I'm just gonna rotate my head with the screen here. So I'm perfectly facing OBS right now. So right about there, if I look over here, my left eye starts like, bleh, hey you guys. Like it starts freaking out. So that's pretty, oh shit, my background. It's too pervy for you, chat, don't look. Anyway, I think these are all the types of things we're gonna need here. Why did everything just minimize? Oh, that's so annoying. Hold on. Where's you? Where are you guys? There you are. Okay. Brother is tweaking from all the drugs? Yeah, looking away from the screen, huh? So let's have another enumerated class. This is gonna be damage type, right? Type of damage. Type of damage. And this is going to be physical equals 0. Spell equals 1. Do we need to? Yeah, we need flying. True. Physical, spell, flying. Is there anything else we need to differentiate? No, flying can be a Boolean value, like is flying. For now, we'll just have physical, spell, and we'll see where else we need to go from there. We don't differentiate between fire, like water. That's unnecessary. It's more like physical and spells, like the big thing. Although, I guess if that's the case, we would have a Boolean value for just, is spell damage, yes, no. Billy Bob Buttery Biscuit! Have you ever heard the song Psychobilly Freakout? Because that's what I think every time I see your name. It's the Psychobilly Freakout! That's what I think every time I see your name. So I think with that, we now have everything we need to construct every card in the game. Now, we don't have textures and all that yet, but we also don't need it. That can just be part of the constructor for everything we're doing. But every card will need it. So I guess we could have like a virtual... Oh, I don't need to create a texture here, do I? Although... Hold on. Let me think. Do I need to? I guess I can. But then I need to import textures. And I guess that's fine. Yeah, this is like a root module, so I guess I can just import textures. Where now we're gonna be void, and we're gonna call create texture. Let's see if this works. virtual void card create texture. Now, does that mean I have to go textures, texture? No. I guess my question is this function create texture? This is here, but is this actually calling this function or no? I don't think it is. In fact, I don't even need this. Because now that I have the texture module, I can just call the function anywhere and it'll work, right? So I guess here we have a texture pointer art. And that'll be the art for whatever we're doing. Oh, sorry. SDL texture. Interesting you're also using SDL2 like me. How long have you been using C++ for? We started learning C++ about maybe 45 days ago. And that's it. That's all I have streamed every single thing. So on Twitch, there's going to be like a VOD like time limit, but on YouTube, you can see every stream that I've streamed. And yeah, so if you guys don't know, all you have to do is just go to, or click below the stream. Just go to YouTube, search up Gary the Goo Boy. Ignore the channel called Gary the Good Boy. That's a dog channel. Click on my channel, go to the live tab, and then you'll see every stream I've ever done relating to C++. So if you scroll down and you go, let's learn C++ to make a game, I am literally like messing around with C++ for the first time. So this is like int main, using namespace standard, int a equals 1, b equals 2, c, like hello world. This is where I started, and this was streamed on January 3rd. Wow, really? 2 months? Goddamn. So 2 months ago, or 55 days ago, whatever you want to say, that's where we started. I need some sleep. Hope you have a nice day. See you later, alligator. Have fun. But yeah, we streamed 55 days ago, and this is where we're at. And I think, you know what, for 55 days, I think we're doing pretty all right. Sorry, I just got really, really thirsty there all of a sudden. But yeah, that's kind of the plan today. So let's start on the creature module. Relic? What do you guys think? What would be the easiest kind of card to make first? You think it would be a creature, a relic, or a spell? A relic being like a permanent, you know? I wonder what would be the easiest to implement. I almost want to say creature, because creatures are just... Maybe a permanent's better, because what is a permanent besides... Or relic, fuck! What is a relic besides staying on the field? I think that's where we start. So, we have all of this public information, but this protected is not available. So, let's construct a relic. So before we go, does the construction come before or after the public declaration? I'm not used to interfaces here. So I think we have to go void relic, or maybe just relic. And this is going to take some parameters, some code. And that's where you do that. And then we delete relic. So this will be the constructor. This is going to be defined later. The constructor, do we start on that? There's a lot of things we have to do. I didn't think about how difficult this would be. The constructor can be public, right? In fact, it must be, because we're constructing it outside of the context of the class here. What do we need when we construct a card? We need art. We need well, ignoring abilities or anything, just to exist as a card, what are we gonna need? We're gonna need a ID number, but that's already in the card. In fact, you don't even need that as a constructor, do you? Oh, yeah, I guess you kind of do, huh? You need a VEC4. Okay, you're saying VEC4. I don't know what a VEC4 is. I'm sorry. Maybe VEC5 because it's newer? I don't know. A blank card. Yeah, we're basically making a blank card here. So we're going to need an int for ID number. We're going to need a SDL floating rect for card. Size of card, like the literal size of the card and the XY value of where it's going to be located. We're going to need a card type, but that's defined as a relic, so that's already taken care of. An unsigned int duration. Unsigned int duration. That doesn't need defining or constructing. Type of damage could be the constructor. Yeah, that's fine. Damage type is what? An int, right? Yeah, it's just an int. Int type of damage. Well, it's a relic. Does relic care about type of damage? No, we can set that to 0. Or set it to spell by default, which is 0, right? That's okay. And then we're gonna need a standard string. Wait. What did I do before? Was it character point? No, const character pointer path, right? Path being the path of like, where on your computer is this gonna be found, right? It's the art. So that's gonna exist. That's why it takes SDL texture. Oh, I never made a setter for that. Sorry. Void set art, which is gonna take a parameter of a const const character pointer path. Art, which is an SDL texture, is gonna be, this is where we call create texture, which is gonna take the parameters of an SDL renderer, a const character renderer, and a uint32. Why does this need a renderer? Oh, to make the surface. Oh, shit. So I guess I can call for that in the constructor. Const character path and a renderer. So an SDL renderer. No, I don't need that in the... No, I do need that in the constructor, don't I? No, I could just make a function that calls for it, but then it's like, do I want that in the constructor and just have it always available? Am I gonna need it? Probably, because this is where I'm gonna render, right? I guess I should just take it as the constructor. So SDL, renderer, pointer, renderer. Something like that. And then this will take const path and SDL renderer pointer renderer. And this is going to take that renderer, that path, and then it's going to make a texture. And then it's going to need a uint32, which is always, why did I do that? Oh, it's the color to alpha. Oh, that's going to be so... Do I care? Do I care about that right now? Can I just make that Can I just comment out this whole thing? Oops. I don't think I need to set the color key. I don't think that's actually needed. Yeah, we don't need to set the color key because I'm not actually doing anything transparent, am I? Although I guess I am if we're gonna have like a card border that's not square, but part of Elements of the Game's charm is that there's square cards, right? We don't have like rounded corners. You're gonna render from the constructor? No, but we're gonna take the renderer in as part of the construction for the card because every card is gonna get... Does that make sense? Am I stupid? I guess I don't need to. I guess it's fine. We'll just have to call the renderer every time we want something rendered. Okay, yeah, that is kind of dumb, isn't it? Okay. Okay, kind of based. Art is equal to that. Oh, save it. There we go. And then that's it. And then we get art. Auto get art. Pointing to SDL renderer. Oh, no. Texture pointer. Return art. Okay, sweet. Amazing. That was complicated. Oh, you're gonna render from the constructor. You pass renderer into the render method. Yeah, but we also need to set the art for the art. That's where we're having an issue right now. So if we want to have art for a specific card, whatever that ID number is called, we need to, you know, have art on the card itself. That's what this create texture is for. So now this SDL texture pointer, which is part of every card, is going to be defined by the set art function. How do I have 27 viewers right now? Oh man, you guys really like your card games in C++, huh? Have you guys, hold on, for all the lurkers right now, how much experience do you guys have with like C++ card games? How about that? This isn't a call to action to get engagement on my channel. I'm like, it's more like I haven't done this before and I want to get wisdom. So let's say you want to upgrade this to SDL3. You want to have a dependency as a parameter in as few places as possible. We'll get there when we get there, you know? Listen, if Counter-Strike can use SDL, if Half-Life 2 can use SDL, I can use SDL, okay? So is this all I need to make a constructed card? Is just an ID number, the size of the card on the screen, and a path. Which I don't even need this, do I? Because that can be changed. So it's just an ID number and the path for the image of the card. Is that all I need to construct something? If I have two different permanents, one is a pillar that generates land and one is hourglass, is the only differentiation between them the ID number and the path? I feel like yes, because later on I can have like set abilities equal to whatever, and then we call that function whenever we want to set abilities. Like a JSON file would have calling the set abilities function as just abilities, none, or something like that. None, honestly. It's kind of interesting to think about how you're gonna do complicated abilities that depend on game state. It'll be interesting. For sure, we'll get there when we get there. But before we even do game state stuff, after today with the card module, I think we're gonna do the... Well, first, we're gonna have to render it to the screen to make sure that's actually done correctly and loading the art correctly. When we do, we'll probably work on the deck module. So we'll have some system of, you know, draw a card with spacebar, and then we just draw like different ID numbers out of the deck. That's kind of what we'll probably do next, probably tomorrow. So we'll have a deck module. This deck will have some amount of cards between 30 to 60 is the original Elements of the game. Probably keep it, maybe lower the max number of ID numbers per thing. So we're gonna have a deck of cards, 30 to 60. It will make a vector because it's dynamic length, you know? Then we shuffle these ID numbers in the vector. Then we draw via the spacebar, and it's like, okay, what do we draw? Spacebar. Oh, look at this ID number. It's random. Oh, so cool. And if that works out, then we can worry about max number of ID numbers per deck, stuff like that. But that's kind of the basic of what we're going to do tomorrow. Once we get that activated, we can worry about stuff like making the field, where we render creatures, relics, and equipment and all that shit on the screen. Quanta is going to be the most trivial thing to implement, which is just you get ramping mana every turn. In Elements the game, you get 1 free mana of your choosing every turn for free. It kind of counters the bad draws sometimes. But the downside is that it's, oh boy, it's debatable. The only experience I have in making card games in C++ is watching my mom play Spider on her laptop a few times. Spider? You mean Solitaire? Oh my god, that is so cute. You think it's called Spider because in Solitaire, the backs of the cards have spiders on them? Oh, that's adorable. I didn't think that existed past like Windows 98. Chips Challenge? Oh baby, I ran that shit all day. Ski Free? I'm absolutely one of those people that did not know how to win at Ski Free. I thought the point of the game is you can't outrun your problems. Turns out all you needed to do was press down, I think, the space bar, and you just go faster. I'm like, oh, that's what Ski Free is. I have 0 experience making card games in C++. I am playing Hearthstone right now, though. Oh, what is your experience, G91? Are you 32 years old by chance? Just saying. No, not 32. 20 years old, season 12. Okay. Are these the only qualifiers? I think they are. I think that's all I care about when we construct a relic object. It has an ID number, it has a path. So with that being said, I think all of these guys can have the same constructors. I don't think spells or creatures need like different construction. I feel like everything can be the same. It makes me think that maybe we should have put that constructor in the, interface was probably the better move, but I don't know. I wouldn't know how to do it if you did. So, how do we construct this? Now, this is going to be some weird syntax if you haven't seen newer C++, so get ready for this one. First, int ID of card is equal to nothing. Int path. Now, you may be wondering, wait, don't you have to make these equal these? Oh, look at this. Colon, ID of card, parentheses, ID number, end colon, comma. There you go. This is art. Art path. Then this is path is equal, or parentheses, art path. Did I do that right? I did not do that right. Oh, because this needs to be a const character pointer. Actually, do I even need that as a constructor? We have to construct something, otherwise it doesn't exist. But if I'm calling an ID number and I call a function that's, create the art for this, why not just have it as part of the constructor, Yeah, it still exists in the form of Microsoft Solitaire collection. Oh man, I didn't even know they made that. But yeah, this is construction in C++ 23 colon. And then these are our variables. Okay. Now, how do we fuck with this? Now we need do we need? I'm trying to think. What else do we need for this relic? Because all of these functions can get called like, oh, we have to define these virtual functions. Okay, that's based. So these functions, we now need to define every single one of them. So drawing it, removing it. So what does this look like for all of these? Does draw look different from creature or spell? I don't know. Microsoft Store product. Oh my God. They do have it. Wow. Cute. Wait, Game Pass is available $1 for 14 days. Oh, it's free. Oh, that's cute. Okay, I like it. Free products. Sweet. Oh, but in-app purchases. Or you can get it with Game Pass. Man, who thought in order to play Minecraft, Microsoft Sudoku, you have to go Xbox Game Pass? Isn't that wild? Oh no, this one's free. Okay, that's kind of based. I like Sudoku. But not the other one, huh? Phase Salvager. Oh, this fucking card. Oh, this was newer. This was before it got abandoned as a game. Phase Salvager, 1 Aether mana, 4 attack, 0 health. What does that mean? After you play this, it lives for 1 turn and then it gets destroyed. It's like there's a card called Spark, which is just a 3 attack, 0 health creature for 0 mana. You play it, it hits for 3, it's dead. Great if you need something cheap out there, right? So 1 Aether mana, 4 attack. Salvaging. A permanent destroyed by your opponent is returned to your hand. So the idea here is you want to make it where this card lives, and then anytime you basically have permanent, like, does this make sense? It's either a 1 Aether mana, deal 4 damage to the opponent's life directly, or if you can buff it by 1 health or do something else with it, it'll have the effect of any permanent destroyed by your opponent is returned to your hand. It is worth noting, however, that if an opponent destroys their own permanent for whatever reason, like say, oh, I don't know, Air Nymph, then you get a copy of Fire Blast, which, hold on, let me show you what that is. Where's Air Nymph? There, oh, Blue Nymph, sorry if it's unupgraded. It's Air Nymph if it's upgraded. Pay 3 mana, Unstable Gas. Yes, for the immature out there, this is indeed made fun of a lot, okay? You have a Blue Nymph, beautiful woman, so nice, so elegant, super expensive mana cost, and she creates Unstable Gas. You don't need Game Pass for it. It's also free. It has ads though. Ugh. Those words don't mean anything. Oh, well, for you it doesn't, but you will. It'll don't worry, Chad. It'll mean. We're gonna make a lot of these cards again. Unstable Gas is a permanent. There it is. Unstable Gas. It's a permanent that's kind of treated as a spell. 6 air mana, so decently expensive. Then it's a permanent, so it stays on the field forever, right? 1 fire mana, ignite, sacrifice the card, deal 20 damage to your opponent, and deal 1 damage to all creatures on the field. So air and fire kind of go together. It's easy to generate a lot of fire mana as air, but it's hard to like get good combos otherwise. But the idea here is it's a combo card. So you have like 6 unstable gas, or well, 5 unstable gases because opponents have 100 HP, and then you explode them all in 1 turn and your opponent just dies. Twist, you cannot use abilities the same turn you play it, so you can't just play 6 air mana and 1 fire and just do 20 damage. That would be broken. So your opponent has a chance to respond. But if you have that Aether card that I just pointed out, which is not there, not there. If you have this Aether card, a permanent destroyed by your opponent is returned to your hand. Hey, Unstable gas counts, bitch. You get some unstable gases yourself if you have fire mana for whatever reason. Thought that was cool. Lobotomizer, one of the biggest memes in the game because it's so frustrating to play against, but it's good. 3 Aether mana, it's a weapon, deal 5 damage at the end of every turn, so pretty cheap, kind of good damage. 2 Aether mana, so moderately expensive ability, silence. It's like, fuck, shit, motherfucker. Oh man, there's a reason why Aether and Entropy are just very opposite of one another. Schrodinger's Cat, classic card. This is so complicated, it's really not. Schrodinger's Cat, 1 Entropy mana, 1/1, so it's a 1 mana 1/1. 1 Aether mana, so super cheap ability. Dead and alive. Kill this creature. Death effects are triggered. This creature is still alive. Talk about how buggy this shit will be to implement. I want this card. It's a really cool card. It's basically a 1 mana 1/1, which is pretty useless on the field, but you get to activate death abilities every single turn for 1 Entropy mana. Very cool card, but holy shit. How the fuck do you even begin to implement that? Discord, randomly convert Quanta. That wasn't even the card I wanted to show you though. Fallen Elf, no. Where's my card? Lycanthrope, no. Dissipation Shield. No. There we go. Maxwell's Demon. Fuck, I was looking for that card. So 5 mana creature, decent cost, start of mid game, 3/2, 2 mana Paradox, kill target creature if its attack is higher than its defense. This is not what I wanted. Yeah, I don't remember what card I'm looking for. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot to consider. Chat? I think that's the stream today. We have to end a little bit early. I have to go grocery shopping before the night gets too late. It's like 7 p.m. my time. So tomorrow we're gonna finish, well, first we're gonna define all of these functions and then probably copy paste a lot of it for creature or spell depending. And then once we're done with that, we're gonna start the deck module. Well, render a card to screen, but excluding the bug testing. We're gonna be creating the deck module, fucking around with iterations and vectors and like randomizing algorithms. So I've never done shuffle algorithms before. Apparently there's like a fucking can to open with that. I don't know what's gonna be, what kind of worms we're gonna find, but we're gonna do shuffle algorithms. And yeah, that'll be the plan. We can't end on that background. That's too not right. That's just mean. Too weeb. Not weeb, but still. All right, chat, this is too lewd for you. All right, have a good night, have a good evening. Listen, it may be 10 p.m. for you, but I gotta go grocery shopping. We'll be back tomorrow, all right? Probably gonna be a longer stream, but 4:30 p.m. my time at the latest. So like 2.5 hours ago is when stream's gonna start tomorrow. We're gonna make a deck module with a shuffle algorithm, and we're gonna finish out the card module. That's gonna be easy. Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a whole day. The plan. Yes, Mr. Dick. All right, everyone, give me kisses. Chat, you taste good today. Goodbye.